Welcome back to Man on the Mic podcast with your host MC Kitoto, the party recipe, alongside
the architect of dreams, Alimbacho Murenga.
Yeah, and as you can see on your screens, tuko na guest. Alikuwa ametusomea kwa background. Introduce yourself sasa vizuri. Wewe inafaa.
Asante. I'm Nataline Kinambuga. I live with grace as I grow in purpose. And I'm a wife, a mother, a mentor, a leader, a teacher, and an entrepreneur.
Okay. Umemaliza? Bado.
Okay. So for my business, I run a company called Simatech Integrated Solutions as the managing director. And we deal with automated liquid vending machines, ama refill za maji zenye mnajua, but they are fully automated and they have an IoT integration and they can be fully powered on solar. We also do solar installations for both domestic and commercial purposes. And I'm also a facilitator with Hope School of Leadership, a school that deals with personal development and leadership. I'm happy to be here as your guest, not speaking about my business today, but speaking about my relational experiences, long distance relationship.
Unaona kitu tu umeintroduce leo. Hiyo ni short. Hiyo short inaweza tumia upost tu mahali. Kwanza hiyo lazima tutaisukuma. That is a very good introduction. Ali, introduce yourself.
Hata mimi nataka kurudia introduction sasa.
Unataka unafanya ngani endelea. Go.
Niko sawa.
Kitu unafanya ndo hakuna. So if you're new to this space, take this time to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment as you watch, and you can also share with someone you feel to learn something from. What for the purposes of this video, what should we call you? Mother, daughter, sister, teacher?
No, just call me Natalie.
Natalie. Oh, thank you.
Yes, let me own my name.
Perfect. That's okay, Natalie. What you learned from
Nataline.
Nataline. Nataline. Hujaluo tu. Natalie. So now in regards to your relationship, now you said long distance.
Yeah.
Can you kindly briefly just try and to introduce you sasa?
My interaction with long distance relationships, I think it has been a part of my life. For all my serious relationships, by the way, they have been long distance relationships. So I didn't have a problem moving into one that eventually led to marriage. And for this one, I've been in a long distance relationship for the past 13 years. Because I got engaged in my 9th month of dating, and I was married. So in our 2nd year anniversary of dating, we were already in marriage. And next month is actually my anniversary, 11 years in marriage right now. Yay.
So we can make it work.
Yes.
Na feel ni kama juu kwanza mimi na Ali, as you just introduced from what you have just said, mimi na Ali naongana notion nyingine mbaya sana.
Usiniingize kwa meza.
Okay, so una Ali
Jiseme.
Anaongana notion nyingine hapo when immediately you take your spouse to the airport, terminal 1.
Yeah.
Useme kwa heri aingie kwa hiyo nini.
Yeah.
Amenda na relationship pia. How do you feel about it? Unafeel hiyo ni kama ni stereotype mbaya?
Of course it's a stereotype, but I think ndasema ni stereotype because kama kuna at the onset of a relationship kuna hiyo doubt ya haujui kama itakuwa haitakuwa. And then one person can be emotionally more invested in terms of time and even building the relationship than the other person kwa sababu hiyo distance. So it is a genuine feeling yenye tuna accept, but it's a stereotype. Because when mkiwa na some form of direction na focus, then it is doable because you're starting to build towards something. I cannot invest my time kwa kitu yenye sioni ama kitu yenye make sense. So if it's already making sense for me, yo terminal 1, I've been there. Yani it's my life.
Multiple times.
First nilikuwa dropiana tukiwa dating. Then we dropiana ukiwa newlywed because I think that was the most painful. Yani sasa this is my reality. And then sasa hii imefika. We do the dropping and picking up now as a family because now kids are involved. So naona I've transitioned but it's possible.
Beautiful. Uko na kitu ya kuuliza kwanza?
Mingi sana. Umesema unafaa uone there is something to show you something is going somewhere.
Yeah.
Hizi signs ni gani? Juu ukienda tu pale sinibai tu.
Lazima alie. Alafu pia unajua kusema signs that okay, just what to his question those jibu zote. Do you feel like okay, kuna hiyo experience yenye uliget juu ulisema 9 months in dating and then you are proposed. Hapo ulionaje something is building ama hizo the signs?
No, I always mimi ni advocate wa kusema before you get into a relationship have someone being your friend. So we had been friends for some number of years. So if friendship ikabuild to now the relationship. So si ati sikuwa namjua, niko namjua. Na I think niko namjua sana. I was his leader somewhere. Yani unavyo sasa ni mimi nilikula kondoma ni kondoa alikulwa I don't know but tukawa hapa mimi sikula kondo mimi nilikatiwa so
kondo ilikula mkula
but you see in that period that nilikuwa leader wake I got to know people at a very personal level. Kuna vitu kwa struggle nazo. Alafu watu wanaona tu leader ni pastor. Wewe ndio wa kuomba. So we knew each other pretty well. And one thing I loved about my husband that I still do, he's a very visionary person and very focused. Kutoka tu kitambo. Yani that is one thing I used to admire about him even when we were friends. So he may carry on like throughout our entire journey. So buying into that haikuwa ngumu sana. Yeah, but pia si ati nilikuwa sina kitu. Unajua many ladies don't like being visionary or ambitious. That is not the same for me. I was a very ambitious person. Hata nilikuwa shanga mwanaume ni nani atawezana na mimi but well it is easy to attach to something, yes. Yeah. Otherwise hata mimi ningemaliza because you see I'm supposed to be the neck not the head. So your head lazima ikuwe stable. Ndio sasa pia mimi kuja na wazimu zangu kaende sana. We are building something very nice.
ama your toughness ilifanya ende majuu.
Hapana. That was his life even before we met. Yeah. So jobs zake zote zimekuanga away jobs. And right now he's working in an international company for the past I think more than 15 years actually. Yes. So even when we were friends when we met he had just started working in that company. So throughout the period of years pia amegrew in ranks lakini hiyo company ni hiyo moja bado.
Hiyo company aseme familia iko bado.
Don't you feel like ni kama mimi nazaona mbona isifikange place yenye tuone family is more I want to be around my people. And ni kama tu hii kungana na pesa juu watu wendangi majuu because of nini sijui nikwambie passion. Okay, passion watu wendanga majuu ni passion lakini
ni kutafuta
ni pesa
si ndio ni pesa. So hii pesa hizi kwa hizi feel ni kama millionaire if I'm approaching a lady and then she tells me that she wants to go to majuu and then uko majuu mimi na feel mdem kwani aoni mimi nataka yani aoni mimi important sana yenye anaweza give up hiyo nini yake ani abaki na mimi.
Well, mimi ndasema as much as watu wanaenda majuu pia situationship yetu ni different. Si hiyo ya kuenda sijui 3 years 2 years. That is not our situation. I think it's good kuiweka into perspective because he works for an international company. Wanapangwa job kudepend na project. Anaweza nje 2 weeks, akwe country nyingine the other 2, akwe nyingine 1 month, arudi home, akae for 1 month. So it is not a defined period of time ati anashinda ametoka. But of course with time your life inabo. Ukiwa ka young man ama ka bachelor your time, traveling is fun. You're like you're seeing ladies, things, experiences, you see. But pia ni poa kujua mtu ametembea vyote na baadaye alichagua. Na baadaye alichagua. So it also still feels nice. Na I think the more your boredom sasa ndio inafanyanga mtu anaanza kutafuta an exit strategy. Yeah, so of which sisi we are working on ours. Ikifika place tuna feel iko sufficient kurun venye tunataka na kucover sustainability yetu in a certain degree, then anaweza resign, of course. But as it is, hata sidhani atajobia wanaweza taka resign kwa sababu they are such critical assets
of the workspace. Uko na kitu na vitu ni mingi. Nataka kupatia chance kabla nitake over.
Hiyo bodo mention tu tuseme side yake after ame travel sana and all that. On your side when you are home alone, like what happens now?
I think for me it was exciting at first because yes yes it was because me when I got married nilitoka home, like I'd never lived by myself. All the time I wanted, it was always a fight with my mom. Utaenda kuharibika huko, utaenda kuzaa huko, utaenda so many things. So for me it was exciting kujua tu that I belong to someone, but we are building each other independently, codependently. Nijijenge, nikuwe na space yangu, akuwe na space yake. And honestly I feel like it has really been a positive aspect for our marriage. I see people who wanaonana kila siku and siko ubaya, but I always ask what is the quality of your conversations, because you see it really tells a lot. Mnaweza kachini tusikie tu mmeongea tuko like hiyo ndio kitu mnaongea ama mko pamoja every day, but you seem to be so bored of each other. So at first it was really fun for me, yani uko kwa space yangu, msi akikam the more excitement. So so ni seasons of life. Kuna time unafika uko like I wish this person was here, because seasons of life pia play an aspect. Kuna ile time tu uko down ama challenges za life zimekukalia wewe peke yako, si hiyo side nyingine. And sometimes it is the reverse, na mnapata hamko pamoja. So I feel like hiyo ndio time naweza feel i long distance inanibo, you know. But when things are when you're fully functional, then I don't think inakuwa such a big issue.
Okay. Kwa hiyo situation yako venye tu yani inaelewa, ni kama he's out there for at least some more money. Na nataka tu bring down, tu scale down kidogo, labda yenyu ni bigi kidogo international. Tuseme tu umeoa bibi ako Busia na huko Nairobi. Inaweza kuwa tu like the same thing.
Yeah, it is actually. It is the same thing. Kwa sababu zote ni long distance. Shida ni proximity. Mwingine anaweza panda basi, mwingine lazima pande ndege.
Hope anaweza panda basi lakini itakawia. But okay, sorry.
Okay, najua wase kadhaa wenye hadi sasa niko na best yangu fulani, neighbor wangu fulani hapo wa kitambo, si wasai. Nika life ilikuja ikakuwa tricky kiasi, alafu lakini kuna time life ilikuwa ngapoa, aliendanga kajenga nyumba ushago. So sasa nika alikuwa ananiambia manze anataka tu hiyo wife yake aende aishi huko ushago juu. Aende aishi kwa single room, aendelee kuhustle like support familia yake huko nyumbani, lakini wajai come to an agreement manze. So situation kayo sasa, like of course huwezi jua kitu iko kwa mind ya huyo wife yake. Sana maybe anafikiria huyu husband wangu nikimwacha peke yake
mtu atapita na yeye.
So hujaikuwa na hizo stories za mtu kupita na yeye, alafu pia kwa huyo tusemeka kwa situation kama hiyo yenye unaambiwa toka hapa uende ushago, kuna nyumba huko, kuna kila kitu huko, and we can work from there.
Hata tuanze na situation ya kuambiwa ende ushago. I think hata when I was dating nilikuwa naogopa sana kuelewa na Mluya, because your time yetu there was always that story ya stereotyping that Luya men wanapenda kupeleka mabibi ushago.
Na jirani wake ni Mluya, sio?
And then now I ended up being married to a Luya. The irony, amani, the beauty of life, the colors of life. But anyway, somehow I knew ndaolewa na Mluya. People always tell me I look Luya, but I'm Luo. But sasa if you see my husband, you think we are. Yeye ndio Mjaluo, mimi ndio. So tuliingiana kabisa. So I feared because of that story. But when you say the quality of your conversations, you have to attach to something. we have to agree on a goal. We are not just getting married for entertainment. Hata itachokesha. Yeah, we have to kukwa pegged on things that are greater than ourselves. Yeah. So that being one of them, if we are building something, inamaanisha I'm part of it. Sasa nikiuko ushago unataka kubuild peke yako. And I think at a personal level, that is an issue I have with very many ladies. Well, it's like ladies get married and they settle. Like they forget, I also had a vision. I also had a goal for myself. I also had something I wanted to do at a personal level. So, inafikaje, like I'm living your life to a point of nambeenda ushagu kale watoto and I'm going as if I don't have things to do. Ndio hata tujenge ushagu. Not unless ulikumejenga before we became together, which is fine. Hiyo nyumba inaweza kaa tu because hata before tupatane na ilikuwa, see, it was just surviving. But my point is, many people do not like agree together. As a family, ni poa kukuwa na a vision and a goal that you're building towards. And goals keep changing and they keep growing. Mkiattain moja, you pat yourselves, you clap for yourselves, mnaangalia challenges zetu zimekuwa gani. Can we try and reach something else, you know? But above all else, it's good to be attached to a vision. Hakuna kitu mbaya kama, for a lady especially, to be married with someone who doesn't have a vision. Sababu utakuwa unaenda wapi? Utakuwa tu unaenda wapi sincerely? Ladies, we are naturals. So if you give me clarity, if you give me some sense of purpose and a direction, I will incubate it and multiply it. So maisha yetu itakuwa sawa.
Niko na kitu kusema pia mimi. Weka hiyo yako. Niko na
swali tumalize hii
sawa maliza.
So from kitu unasema nikaa like hii hata kupeleka ushago sana pia inachangiwa na huyu bibi mwenyewe.
No, siwezi sema ni bibi mwenyewe, but mimi narudi back to what is the quality of the conversations. But the lifeline of every marriage is communication. The lifeline ni communication. Kama hatuwezi ongeleshana, ni kuelewe, so that we can be able to translate chenye tunaambiana, then there's nowhere we are going. Hata achana, before uongeze trust hapo, it's communication first. That it is the lifeline of every marriage, whether ni long distance, whether ni ya kuonana kila siku, whether the reverse inaitwa ni every day, I don't know.
Short distance.
No distance.
No distance.
So yeah, that is the lifeline. So ukiona a decision inakuwa one sided and one person is not agreeing, inamaanisha kuna breakdown hapo kwa hiyo communication. Na other than that, kwenda might not be the problem, right? Is this person a visionary person? Like, do we have a plan? Ama nitaenda alafu nisahau ukienda kwa hiyo single thing,
niko nataka kwenda tu huko.
Yeah.
Mimi niko na nini?
I hope nimekuja.
Kuna hii, okay, based on what you have said. Kuna hii stereotype ya when a woman leaves to go and seek greener pastures, it is doomed. Than when a man leaves. Wanasema hata mwanaume kienda sana atarudi. Lakini mdema akienda anatafuta, okay, na feel kila mtu anaenda kutafuta greener pastures. But ni kama ya mdem sana pia unajua majuu is kuna tuna associate na everything is good there. So we assume even the men are better. So
which is not the truth.
Okay, ni assumption. So do you feel like from your experiences mimi na assume unakuangalia kwa community ya long distance marriages people ama huko tu kwa marriages?
No, but I'm not. I think mimi as an individual, I love communities. I'm a sanguine, so nakuanga social bad. So it's not written on my head. Not unless you just know me at a close range, unajua I'm in a long distance marriage. And we are even part of a marriage enrichment group. And I think we are the only ones who do long distance. So I'm sure kuna communities, but I'm wondering, is it a purpose gani? Okay. And then you see for ladies, we are not really visual as men. So your stereotype me ndasema ni very wrong. Because I feel like ladies ndo tunaanga more attached to goals and things, even than men. And that's why long distance for ladies, maybe it's a bit easier kwa sababu hatukui tempted sana, ati sijui nimeona skirt, nimeona what. So, and then pia being busy. See busy ya kukua tu busy body, but just busy with yourself. Ukuna some personal development, ukuna some growth here, what there. Exercise pia ni poa, I think both sides ya kutoa steam.
Lakini uoni kweli like hata mimi najua tu sahi mdemu wangu akienda majuu ni poa tu. Ameenda majuu, yani all the best to her.
No,
lakini mimi nikienda majuu
utarudi.
Angoje.
Hapana, na ndio
mimi naenda kutafuta a better. Unajua mimi ndo nafaa mimi ndo visionary. Unaona? Ndio mimi ndo niko na vision, mimi ndo na build, mimi ndo naekeza mabidi zote. Kwanza alafu okay, yako ni different juu for you. You are a lady who wants to work. Who wants to be out there. Mimi niko place yenye nataka mde mtu ametulia. Ana maneno mingi.
Sasa si ni wewe unaharibu because you see idleness, yeah. Masemanga an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Unapewa unapewa nini, alafu uko na time. Alafu uko na all these body hormones that you do nothing. I think that's a wrong perspective.
So haijalishi mwenye anaachwa. Bora tu kuna kitu ya kufanya.
But turudi kwa vision. You see, hata kama mwanaume wewe ndio unataka kujifanya vision bearer, si pia kujifanya. Maybe you have it, right?
I have it.
At least si pia as in have someone who has something. Yeah. It boil down to how do you actually perceive women? Ama how do you perceive you are a woman? Because you're bringing someone who add something into your life, right? To make it better. Ikuwe better both sides. Sindio? So hata kama it's the lady who is going, as long as you have something, if I have something that I am sold out to, I'll be committed to it 100%, not unless something happen up in between, right? But if I am committed to the cause, mbona ni break commitment yangu? Because kila kitu ni decision and it's a choice, sindio? Love is a choice that you make every single day. Trust is a choice that you make every day. So hizi zote ni zote ni doing what, because you're building muscle every day. So commitment pia is a choice. And always say hakuna mtu amesema wenye wanaenda majuu peke yao ndo wanaweza choma picha. Hata si wenye tunabaki. So unajua uko busy, ati bibi yako uko busy 24 hours na tukasubuhi na rudi jioni. I have so many hours in between. I can do whatever I want. So it is a matter of choice, commitment, and buying into something. So if I'm sold out to the vision of our family, because I have friends who have been in long distance relationships, and it's the ladies who've gone. They've gone and they've come back. And they've made good money for the family. Na wakirudi na kwa reverse. It's like God opens a door and now the men are in a better position financially than where they were. So vegetarian mesema, it's really buying into a purpose and something that you're sold out to. So if I believe in our union, why not work towards it? Because marriage is work. Whether it is no distance or long distance, it is work. So if you're willing to put the effort, why not?
Ufeel ni kama sasa hiyo okay, thank you for the effort. Ufeel ni kama unaona nyinyi mlianza kudate na 9 months. Okay, mli date for 9 months. Then kulikuwa na engagement. So ulikuwa uko sure kuna, lakini boyfriend girlfriend yenye tu alafu anaenda. For me, kwanza hapo ndo tunafaa kuwa tuna work hard towards strengthening our relationship, our bond. Juu kama tu tumeanza kudate hapa tu alafu uende, mimi naona tena umenitingisha kidogo. Juu sasa mbona ukienda huko nje alafu upate mtu mwingine? Alafu what do you feel are the red flags za sasa ukienda acha tu nikurelease?
Well, I'll still use myself as an example. My previous serious relationship before this one that led to marriage was still long distance. And the red flags were loss of communication. Because in long distance, you cannot leave communication to chance. You have to schedule it. You have to be intentional about it. It doesn't matter I'm in China and you're sijui where.
Time zones.
If it's time zones, let's create the time because we both want this thing. So after I think a year, after like a year, I started noticing this guy is just too busy. Our scheduled times hapatikani. And then sometimes utamtafuta, he didn't want to now FaceTime and stuff, and you're like, huku si basi kuna babes ama. Yeah, and then I think just the way I had highlighted, hiyo kukuwa emotionally invested. Unapata maybe one person is more emotionally invested than the other person. So ukianza kuona red flags, na pia it depends with how you're dating and how mlipatana. So if you're dating in purity, believe you me, it's not that painful, because I'm like, see, the worst that can happen to me, it did not move to something permanent, right? But if kama cross lines and boundaries, you've been intimate and stuff like that, hapo ndo mtu usikia vibaya. But kama hakuna, my friend, it's just good riddance, thank you, let me try again, you move on, sawa. So like for him, after your period yote for being distant, he still came back to Kenya, right? He was coming like once a year. And that time I think nilikuwa pia mimi, love is blind. I was there looking for scholarships as a job and stuff. He was actually helping me to look for the scholarships. Yes, and I got 2 scholarships, by the way. And I just nikaka chini nikajembe, is this the life I want? Is this even the person that I want? Because I was very young. So my first marriage proposal came when I was 20 years. Which was that one, and I turned it down because I was like, with all these red flags, where are we going? I was like, no thank you, because I felt like the proposal was very selfish to cover the red flags that had been in between, in between him going and coming back again. And also I felt like it was more of tying me down. Niko na ule msupa nimefungia pale Kenya,
Nairobi,
nikijibamba huko hivi UK, you know. Yeah. So I think it's easy to tell. And then I cannot tell you for a fact where the relationship was heading. Other than scholarships, Natalie, come and join me. So what were we building? So I cannot even tell you that he was visionary to that point. All I knew ni anataka kumake maisha yake UK, ajisiki kurudi Kenya. So at some point I was like, the introspection. Do you want to go out of the country? Why? Don't even want to go and study those things that I'm getting the scholarships for.
Sasa iya masomo sasa okay, ni sawa. I think niko na maswali mingi mpaka hata sasa unani confuse.
No, just pole to breathe, bring them out.
Let me breathe. Continue. Let me breathe.
Tuseme, unajua mi tuseme kwa mtu mwenye ana shida za pesa. From the story zenye umegive, pia most examples zimekuwa around somebody looking for a better life and all that.
Vision.
Of course, vision.
Tuseme tu kwa mtu mwenye everything is okay in their lives.
Yeah.
In short, huyu hana reason yoyote ya kukua in a long distance relationship. Right? Could that be a correct statement? And also, tuseme, how do you know, juu mina feeling easy goals za life zinaendanga tu zikisonga. Ukishaanza kuonja dollars, sasa tena kwa shillings itaanza kukua ngumu. So utajuaje imetosha sasa? Wacha ni let me sit with my family. Yeah. Juu mi kwa hii story yote bado sijapata hiyo sense ya kwangu ina feel tu kama my priority is family.
Yeah.
Sioni
for
why
us as well.
For you as well. Yes. Pengine uni explain it. Juu kwangu mimi naona if my priority is family, I have to do everything
to be with them.
To put the family first. It doesn't matter. Heri hata watoto wangu tuko nao na wife wangu tuko na yeye. Kwa hiyo Kenya shillings zenye napata in comparison to I risk. Unajua hii kitu ni very dangerous. For dollars na familia yangu manze inaweza potelea hapo.
But I'm feeling like unayeka in a way that inaka so blanket, because even for people who are in no distance, pia wako na hizo challenges zenye unasema utakuna risk ukiendea dollars. And I mean, I don't think mambo ya kufly out is entirely about finances only, by the way. The people who want to pivot in their careers. Na kuna careers places zenye zimefika, utarudi Kenya ufanye nini, not unless it's business, not unless ni competitor wa place yenye uko. Like for him now, he works in the biggest company in the world. Sasa ukirudi Kenya, who will want to match up that one? Not unless you're building something yako, yenye utakuwa contented nayo. And then on the goals part of it, of course, it keeps changing. change is the constant thing in life, sindio? So hata mimi nikioleka sikuwa hii size, sindio? Say I'm this size, maybe next time nitakuwa nimerudi mdogo ama nimeongezeka, who knows. But that is still part of change. And mambo za goals, it makes sense when you make a goal and you're able to hit the goals, si kuweka and not hitting the goals, because hiyo pia ni another red sign actually. Because even when you're dating, mneza with the authenticity of your conversations, there are goals that you can actually have, sindio? Because if I'm dating you, I'd love, maybe you have a personal goal that you're working towards, sindio? Na mimi I have mine. If I cannot even be able to hold you accountable in just your goal, like you said this at the beginning of the year, we are 12 months down the line, umefika wapi na hii
zero
goal?
progress, no?
Already that's also another actually that's another red flag, yeah. For people who are no distance or long distance, because a part of accountability inaanzia from the dating. So when it comes to story ya family na kutoka na nini, it is the intentionality that matters. I've seen a lot of parents who wako home kila siku, but they don't have, yani hata wajui watu iwao, hata wajui shoe size, hata wajui ako class gani. I think I see that a lot. Even in parents meeting. Like watu wajiintroduce, yasema mimi ni sijui Peter, baba ya sijui nani. Ako grade.
wa baba.
It causes there, right? So the aspect of taking care of your family, it's still an intentional thing. Sawa? Na venye nimesema, for me I feel like our long distance relationship, iko a bit privileged. See ya kwenda Saudia for 3 years and then you come back. Iko dependent on the project. So it's not as if he doesn't have time with us or with the kids. And I think the beauty now becomes that our life is a bit spontaneous. Aiko a boring routine that we are used to and we are growing into every day. And that's why nasema, it's not really about the money. Jupesa itoshangi. It's about investment. And even the people who go out, you have a good long distance relationship ni yenye iko na exit plan. Sawa. And adaptability is one thing that you must be open-minded for when you come into marriage. Because tunaweza kwa tumesema goals zetu ni 2 years. Sawa. In the 2 years, corona ika happen. Si kazi hazikufanyika. So we rearrange and reorganize ourselves, alafu tuseme acha tujipatie goal maybe 5 years. So a good long distance relationship is one that has an exit strategy, but the exit strategy iko na nini? If you've been blessed to have more outside there, so what is your plan? The goals must include investment, not unless nyinyi wote ni kunaonga na builders and spenders. Not unless nyinyi wote ni spenders and none of you is a builder, none of you is thinking for the other one. Ama none of you is thinking for the family. I think that's what I'd say.
Kuna hii notion fulani. Now say nafini kama tumefika place tuko very tunakuwa educated. So keep up with that spirit. So kuna hii notion fulani ya ukifika place yenye like sijui ni yakeaje. Mwanaume mwenye una situation yenyu anaenda narudi, but for the children as a child, me when I was a child I only wanted my parents to be there. Like nakumbuka nikienda boarding school. Mimi nilikuwa nangoja, nilikuwa sure wazazi wangu wanakuja. So mimi sikuwa naangalia sijui anatengeneza pesa, hata sikujua kama watu tengeneza pesa. Mimi najua watu kitaka kitu yuka. Kuja. So I always wanted my parents presence. Hiyo tu. Ufeel ni kama hiyo ni kama tunanyima watoto tukisema tunataka sasa kuenda kufanya distance ya nini.
Of course tunawanyima like hakuna kitu yenye inanga disadvantages. So of course that is one of them. That is one of them.
Can you mention some that we should also consider?
The disadvantages?
Yes.
Okay, let's now start with that one. For distance. Ama tuite tu parenting as a whole. Yeah? Because parenting, kuna time inafika that you actually need discipline to be effective. Yeah? And parenting doesn't mean that a single parent will not parent. But I always say, ideally, if you're blessed to have both parents who are present, and not just present, who are active in your life, then you're blessed. Because you can have both, but it is your mother who does everything, or it's your father who does everything. So of course there's a disadvantage because my kids are not able to access their dad every single day. But thank God to technology, we're not limited to geographical space. So they get to talk as often as they can, not unless the time zone does not allow us to talk every day because maybe it's a late phone call or stuff. For us, we do that actually. They get to talk to their dad as often as possible. Sometimes I can feel, we are alinichokesha. Please deal with this situation. Or I've talked about this so many times. You try talking about it. Maybe there's a way that he'll bring it out that I'll not bring it out. And then another disadvantage is, I think, matters identity. Identity in the sense of, like for us, we are cross-cultural. So I cannot teach the kids what I do not know. So watajua aje hiyo lugha yao. You see? So for me, I think that's, I think hiyo ndio inaniumanga sana because they have very limited time. As much as I keep on advocating for it, they've learned kidogo. But I know if he was maybe there every day, it could have been better. Yeah. See at wako zero, at least they know something. But what if I was not pushing? Yeah. For them to kukua na hiyo identity ya sisi ni Waluya, so we know our language like this. So I'm only able to teach them what I know. So my kids know no more of Luo than Luya. Yeah, but yeah. And then there's also that age where you're able to nurture your kids very well, which is 6 years and below. So if you're able to teach your kids so many things, even if you want them to be multilinguists, that's the space that you actually attack, right? So it's not that all hope is lost. Even giving myself as an example, me, I'm a proper town babe. I was born and raised in the city. But I know my mother tongue, vizuri sana, 100%. But it's because my dad was intentional. He decided we cannot be going to their country every day. So how will I teach these kids? So I'll decide, if they come from work, today I'll teach them a greeting. Tomorrow I'll teach them how to ask for water, how to request for money, how to ask for milk, how to ask for shoes, you see. So slowly we were building. And if he taught you a greeting yesterday, today you must greet me. In that mother tongue. So it was intentionality. And for me it's a concern because it's something I feel watoto wanafaa tu wajue. But in the generation that we are nurturing currently, it's almost like an issue.
Unaongea kizungu sana. Una kitu gani?
So like unajua kuna statement fulani hapo inasemanga you cannot prevent birds from flying over your head. Ni sawa na you cannot prevent thoughts from coming into your mind.
For sure.
In a long distance relationship, unajua tukikuwa tu very honest, sana baba watoto siku moja anaweza kaa hivi aseme hao watoto ni wangu, unaona?
You're right.
Na si ati hata kupenda kwake ama ni ana ubaya imekam tu hivi. Wewe unaweza feel kitu kama hiyo. Women wengi ukiguza area ya DNA aya mtapitana vibaya sana.
Of course, vibaya sana. That is very emotive and very painful. Na well, I understand because vetu nimesema we live in a practical life, sindio? So long distance yangu inaweza kwa si kama ya mwingine. We know people who are in these arrangements like where I live, so you know the wife is straying outside, so you assume, okay, what about the husband? You know. But of course it's emotive. Hata me I'd feel bad, especially now that my kids look like their dad. So what will you be saying? Yeah. Hapo lakini pia tunasema thank God my kids
otherwise lakini
but it's something yenye
it's something that happens every day, by the way. Even if it's not for me, I know it's a doubt that most men carry around, and they are justified to do that because venye mimi the values and the cultures that I'm upholding as an individual, see my neighbor, see the next person who's also in a similar relationship.
would you there are two things that kwanza tujibu tu ndio umalizie. Like a man must eat. Yeah, everything that the wife offers. Sasa the man is not around. Au kwangi na hiyo boss feeling kama ati manze where is he eating?
I think at first nilikuwa hizo thoughts zikinisumbua. But I think pole nikaja kuji-stress na vitu kama hizo. I always say something that's out of my control, I will not die there. Yeah. And as I've said, trust is something that you exercise every day. Yeah.
So akujai kuwa na ile ameleta at least kusikue ameleta kukue na kitu kama uone hapa kuna kashida.
Kuna ka doubt. Honestly, I've never
kama ule mwenye face hataki ku FaceTime.
Sijai kuwa na such a situationship. But see at even you say to the mind can think, right? As we think unajambia sasa wakiwa na free time yote alafu ama iku Rwanda the ladies are so beautiful. But pia we have embraced openness in our communication. Openness to a fault, by the way. To a fault. Like even today, me coming here, he knows I'm here and he knows I'm having this conversation. So it's like giving each other a glimpse of ino tunafanya. Ama these are my friends, these are our boundaries. I'm a lady in the corporate and the workspace. I also interact with many people, and it doesn't mean that people won't come on to me. In fact, they don't care that you're married or not. With a ring or without, it does not even matter. Yeah. So as our conversations are always that open, he'd be like, hey, the hotel here, wasichana wa kuchange ni rooms, kuna venye there's a way they are communicating. And for us, we've embraced such level of openness and transparency. And pia hata when we're in that season, because hormones will act up and the hormones will want, we just talk it out sometimes, because as a Christian to advocate for other things. Yeah, but hizo seasons ziko.
Talk it out ni sawa tu sasa.
You will.
I think unafaa kuandika book hiyo ya kutalk it out. Sasa mimi naona ni kama your husband is doing well from what you are saying.
He's trying.
It
cannot be perfect.
But ako sawa. He's working for a leading company in the world. Sasa wewe mimi nimetoka tu hapa nataka kuenda kupatia msupa wangu idea ya venye Nairobi imenilemea. Alafu nataka kwenda Saudi Arabia nikuwe watchman, unaona? Nianze hapo. Hiyo ni kitu hiyo ama niache tu kumsumbua niache naye. Like kuna vitu zingine ukienda kupasuma juu, are they really worth it that you sacrifice your relationship for?
Me, I'd say yes and no, because before you come up with such a solution, it means you had options, and probably it was the top on your list. But the practicality of going is the question. Do you have the visa? Do you have the airfare and stuff like that? Because again, as I've said, long distance si mbaya, as long as it has an exit strategy or an end game for that matter. Yeah. So if you're going to Saudi Arabia because vitu zimewakalia, the question again is, were both of you working? Because if you're down and unable to cover, then where is the problem? As you pick yourself up. But if you're the only sole breadwinner and we have to make tough decisions, then tough decision it is. But then again, I think something else that people should consider before engaging in things like long distance, also know your love language. Because if you are a person of physical touch, you'll die there. In fact, you will not make it. You keep on sinning, backsliding, begging for forgiveness and many other things. Yeah. So those are things that you must consider. But when push comes to shove, because life is life, and circumstances sometimes do the best to us. So if you are this person who loves physical touch and stuff, and situation is like this, you have to go, hauna mbele, hauna nyuma, then it calls for understanding. Because if there's no understanding and there's no level of sacrifice, then what are you even doing in that relationship?
Okay. Ali as nataka uponda on this. Ponda on this. Have you learned something? Yenye imefanya ika change.
Yes.
Hata utaki kuponda.
Haija change lakini tu nimelearn.
Ngoja kidogo. Mse. Ngoja relax. ponder on hiyo kitu umelearn ama imechange perspective. Kama ita change perspective, you'll share with us as you think of something you wanted to say but you didn't get the opportunity to say. Alafu, is long distance really something you should consider ukiapproach mtu? Yani okay, sijui nikwambiaje, like I'm trying to put it in the best possible way. Like I want this lady but najua naenda maju next week. Is it something that lady anafaa ku soften up to?
But I feel like the time is too short. Yeah, nakutaka, like I've spotted you today, I'm going next week. That seems so selfish. Not unless mnaanza talking stage.
Kwa nini? Kwa ofisi ya visa.
Not unless mnaanza talking stage and you continue communicating and see where your conversation.
But you should be open to it.
Yeah, you should be very open. Why not?
Okay. You ume nini?
Nime kitu nimelearn. I trust manze is a very huge thing in this long distance relationship. Alafu
si relationship yote.
Ya hii ya long distance, hiyo trust yako inapimwa, unaona? Unahitaji double portion. Alafu pia nimeona tu nikai long distance iwezi work na kila mtu. It really needs someone mwenye
akona grace. Yeah,
si hata grace, mtu kichwa yake inafanya vizuri. Bure mtasumbukana vibaya sana. Like ule mtu ana understand like these are the challenges we are facing. Let's work like this. Mtu mnaweza agree or here and here. Lakini tu mtu tu yoyote itakuwa balaa juu inataka values, inataka vitu mob sana juu how many men cheat on their wife na anaenda tu kazi tao. Sasa akienda huko penye bibi yake hata yuko it's gonna be very bad and vice versa of course.
But I think to add on to that, how you begin your relationship really matters, because I always say how you begin it is how you will sustain it. Yeah. So if you begin from a point of let me just talk about chastity, you kujikungojea and stuff like that, and probably not engaging so much, because if you are very sexually intimate and stuff before ufike hapo, hata before maybe you got committed, of course hata when you have a shadow of doubt, what is the percentage of your doubt? It's very high. But if you've managed to relate for a long period with someone without even engaging sexually and otherwise, and you're able to build something important, even just work on your friendship first. Work on your friendship, get to know each other, get to know your weaknesses and your strengths, then that's a plus. Because also for long distance to work, it's good to embrace each other's skills and strengths. So if I'm a good planner, if I'm a good what, so if you were to send money and I'm planning something, or I'm in charge of the investment, you're sure I will not wipe out your bank account and I'll be missing. Yeah, I think
una nyumba, una bibi, una watoto, una anything.
Atuko Kenya. Tumekufuata.
Umepata point ya something you wanted to mention? And
I think something I can add is just the advantages of long distance relationships, because there are advantages. Yeah, because I feel like from the conversations you guys are so fearful, like it's all doom and gloom. Even me had those doubts. Getting married, I was like, so what is the length? So how will it look like? But yeah, when I said, if you have goals and you're achieving them, it makes life a bit interesting and fun. I'm not saying you failed, because in life you will fail. You fail and fail and fail again. But you pick up and build something, it's important. So the advantages, number one, are stronger communication. When you truly listen, you cannot leave communication to chance. You have to be committed to it. You have to schedule it. Then we also have personal development. You really grow as a person, as an individual. Like Natalie can be a whole vibe, a whole person by herself. Yeah. And I feel like that's a good space to bring up a family, because I look inwardly and outwardly to be a wholesome person before even looking outside, like kazi yangu ako aje. So we're able to also give children a good upbringing, because we need to role playing. They're able to see resilience, they're able to see love, they're able to see hard work, hizo vitu zote. So it's not all doom and gloom. Yeah. And then pia kuna hiyo just that missing someone, being spontaneous. Hii side, you know, you being that side mnatamani kuoa, si ndio? Wansemanga mwenye azolewa anataka kuoa. Na mwenye ameolewa pengine anataka kutoka. Pengine nimesema pengine, but really I think the spontaneity also makes life beautiful. Sometimes boredom na a particular routine all the time.
I think that one I can sell into that tu ugusie kitu in 1 minute. Time yetu imeisha. Time yetu imeenda sana. Like your biggest fear ya hii story yote inaweza kuwa nini?
My biggest fear was really about parenting.
Yeah.
And probably my husband missing out on important things, like me giving back. I think at this point at anniversary kwangi important, because unasema kama hayuko we will compensate next month when he's around or otherwise. I think for me my biggest fear was that, like missing out on important things, because there are things we cannot atuwezi simamisha time and we cannot revisit.
Okay. Alafu can I add?
No, and then fatherhood as well. Fatherhood aspect of it, because there are things that only a dad can be able to call out, like masculinity for my son. Mimi ndamfundisha tu kwa soft, kwa gentleman, kwa this loving boy. Yeah, so there are things that only the dad can be, only the dad can be able to call out, and then also affirming the femininity of my girls, like being the person who sees their beauty. Yeah, so I think for me is on the future now go for.
Uje feel ni kama ini ya mwisho kabisa, sorry, poleni guys. Uje feel ni kama jitulianza kitu na long distance. What if he quits na tushinde kusustain ako hapo sasa amekuja?
No. I think sijawai, because when you nimesema I'm a very hands-on person as well. Ambitious in my own right. In my own right, and I think time ya COVID, every marriage had a scare, especially if you are not essential services. It means you are all lounging at home. Yeah, if you're not essential services, we're like, we are not essential. We are all here, meaning our lives can die. And livelihood is a katika. But honestly, for me, it's not something yenye nishaiogopa. Simply because pia from a personal experience, I've been raised by my mom, not by choice. My mom was widowed very early, when I was in grade 3. That was nikiwa 8 years old, you can imagine. And she has raised us single-handedly. Yani, we never used to know kama mama ana pesa ama hana. Of course, now that we are grown, there are times that we could have this conversation and we could understand. And me always say, she's my role model. Your strength that I've seen in her, and the strength that I draw from her, atuwezi lalanja when I have my 2 hands.
Well said. I think sasa with that having been said, thank you for making time to be with us, Nataline. Me nimelana a lot, so you can enda maju. So with that having been said, thank you for staying with us to the very end of our podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, follow us on our social media handles. The links are on the description, and you can also ndacha pia Nataline we interact na businesses zake.
Please.
Yes.
Follow us on all social media platforms.
Nitazi include kwa description yetu. Yeah. So you can find Simatech on our description also. With that having been said, enjoy the rest of your week, be blessed and stay kind. Au revoir.